Ah, beginning of Part 7G, the Saudi connection. As part of any investigation, detectives look at motive and opportunity. Let's see the Saudi connection. Barack Obama made good his promise to kill Osama bin Laden, a Saudi royal family member. Could Stevens be an eye for an eye, as in the Quran, that the Saudi royal family grandfather gave Osama bin Laden $29 million to conduct a holy jihad against the West, as long as he stayed off of Saudi soil? The folks flying those planes that crashed into the World Trade Center were flown by Saudi nationals. I met them. 1 month before the scheduled New York Times release of the Florida election results, the bombing occurs. By the way, I fueled the C1 Cessna 172s. They weren't starving, believe me. When the FBI agents warned Bush administration about them, the Bush administration ignored and put that agent into the boondies. On 9/12/2001, the only aircraft that was allowed to fly over the U.S. was the Saudi family's DC, which flew around our country, picking up all the Saudi royal family members by executive orders. Saudi Arabia has spent in the last decade over $1 billion into their conservative jihad propaganda machine. The Saudi royal family and Rupert Murdoch own 80% of the new agencies in the Middle East. Jon Stewart, The Daily Show, showed video of Britannia, the second largest TV station owned by, guess who? Saudi royal family, showing Saudi imams claiming that the U.S. military killing Afghani and Iraqi citizens and selling the body parts to Jews. Sounds awfully familiar. Didn't Fox News run something about, what was that organization? I can't quite put a finger on it. Planned Parenthood, maybe? Ah, Jon Stewart even showed that Britannia had made a movie showing the U.S. soldiers doing just that, killing Iraqi and civilians and selling the body parts to the Jews. I wonder how that went over. Would you call this demonization of our military men over and over a good thing for America? Could the reason why Obama doesn't come in with a lot of ground troops is that Saudi Arabia's campaign of demonization of our soldiers has been very effective? After a decade of Saudi demonization, do you think our military would be met with open arms or a bullet in the back? During the 2012 presidential campaign, under Saudi Arabia, under a 501c, spent $245 million, almost a quarter of $1 billion, in support of Mitt Romney's campaign and conservative Republican campaigns all over our country. I wonder, did Saudi Arabia support Andy Barr's campaign? Maybe that is why Andy Barr is against Iran and the Irani deal. Conservatives on both the U.S. side and Iran side have been working diligently to torpedo this new agreement. The conservative Islamists want the jihad to occur, and the conservative Christians, supposedly, they're more like Pharisees, want the apocalypse to occur. Oh, that rapture bus is coming for you. I wouldn't plan on it. That rapture bus. Is it not in the Bible? You shall be knocking on my door. I believe the word is banging. And I will say to you, I don't know you, and close it. Quite honestly, I'd be more afraid of Saudi Arabia getting nuclear arms than Iran, considering the Al Qaeda connection of the bombing of the World Trade Center and many more. But the Donald thinks it's okay to give Saudi Arabia nuclear arms. Dumbass. Did you know that the Donald has property in the Middle East? He sells estates, vacation estates, for $1 million to $10 million in the Middle East. Who's going to buy these vacation properties? Joe Lunchbucket or Saudi oil sheiks? Does he own gambling joints? Do you think the Russian mafia also is into gambling? Maybe the Donald doesn't want to release his tax information because it would lead to an investigation. You know, Al Jazeera tried to interview those Saudi sheiks during the period that the Donald was ranting and raving and demonizing Islamic refugees coming to our country. They just smiled and said they're not worried. And then they turned away. Looking at Donald's proposed tax cut program, creating a $2 trillion a year deficit, which would make America more dependent on Saudi money, and giving the Saudi royal family plenty of money to buy those nukes. And let's take a look at Saudi-owned Fox News. Yes, what are the messages repeated over and over by our America, for America Fox News? Well, government can't do anything. You should fear our government. You should hate our government. You should defund our government and destroy our government. And finally, it's okay to allow the wealthy to bleed our government to death because they're job creators. Top end shrink is almost $2 trillion, and that is why we have a deficit today. Is this really a pro-American message? Did we put our man on the moon because we defunded NASA or that we funded NASA? Fox News is gives us an anti-American message and a pro-Al-Qaeda message. Considering the Saudi connection and the pro-Al-Qaeda message brainwashing millions of Americans today, should we not look to investigate Fox News and shut it down? We are allowing Al-Qaeda News and Morning Jihad to corrupt our country and brainwash millions of Americans day after day with their pro-Al-Qaeda news. Just more conservative treason. What I just laid out includes both motive and opportunity. If you don't stand for the moderate, you will only face the extremist, and he will be sending us nukes. As for Miss Hillary, has it ever occurred to any of you that if someone receives beating after beating and doesn't squeal, you know absolutely that this person is trustworthy? Her actions prove to me, and I hope to you, that she is the most trustworthy person running for president this election. A real iron lady. Those work to get rid of the long tradition of off-the-record communication that goes back all the way to Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson are traitors to our country, and by getting rid of this very important, very essential tool will make war inevitable and will lead the U.S. to World War III, where millions of Americans will die. Believe me, I ran for the U.S. Senate this year to stop the ticking time bombs from happening. There ain't none bigger. Please consider what I have to say. Please vote Democratic this election, and please, that includes Miss Hillary. You have a good and blessed day. The end of this story.